Hello, everybody, and welcome into the 40 Acres Postgame Show Live. I am your host, Matthew Miller. Thank you guys for joining me today. And Texas gets the first one of the season, 37-10 versus Rice. All in all, honestly, a very performance from Texas all around, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Defense was very good. But before we get started, can you please hit that like button? Please subscribe down below. It really helps out the channel, guys. We're trying to grow a brand here. We're part of SU1 and Mark Rogers TV. So please hit that like button, subscribe, go over to Mark's channel, subscribe. It really helps out a lot. Stay with the Big 12 channel, subscribe right here. Also, subscribe at the Texas channel because I will be coming back Tuesday to break down the Alabama game and take your questions, concerns, anything, criticisms for myself if you have them in the comments. And then also next Saturday, we will be back here live after the Texas-Alabama game. That game kicks off, I believe, 7:30. So I'll probably be back here about 10:30 to talk about the game, guys, 10:45. Overall, super excited that the college football season is back. I don't really know what to take from this game, and I don't think a lot of Texas fans know what to take. Honestly, we've seen weird scores today. Indiana and Ohio State. Ohio State only won that game by 20. They're a much better team than Indiana. They should have beat them by more. We should have beat Rice by a little bit more. Honestly, the real score was probably about 37-3 because we took out most, if not all, of our starters going into the fourth quarter. I believe they were in for a drive on offense. The offensive line at least was in, but Malik Murphy had gotten in at that point. So I don't really know how to judge this. I guess next week that'll be the primary factor for me, how to judge this team, because offense, defense, very good. The defense is good. I have no questions about that. They're going to be probably a top 25 defense in the country. Can that offense be as good as last year? And then hopefully they should be able to take the next step under Steve Sarkisian in his third year at the helm, especially with him being an offensive coach. If we had a defense coach, I'd understand why the offense isn't as good as the defense at this point. But let's get into it. So Quinn Ewers, guys, came out, played 3 quarters. I thought he was pretty good. I thought the thing obviously he needs to work on, just like last year, was the deep ball. His deep ball was off. It's more, and on deep ball, it's your timing, and you could see that the timing wasn't there. But a lot of it had to do with the offensive line. He wasn't able to step into throws and be as accurate as he needed to be, or be on time like he needed to be, because of the offensive line, in my opinion. There was one where he had Xavier Worthy, I believe it was deep, and he had to throw off his back foot. It might have been A.D. Mitchell, but he threw up his back foot. And he threw it like 45 yards, which was insane. He didn't even plant his foot. He was literally like, his front foot was hovering, and he just went like this. And it was a good throw for what he was doing there. But again, he has to be able to set his feet, set, and then get up in the pocket and throw that ball. And he wasn't able to do that. Christian Jones, I can't believe I'm saying this, played well today. Best offensive lineman by far. I think Jake Majors played pretty good. Kelvin Banks played his worst game in college. DJ Campbell did not play well at all. And then Hayden Connor was probably the third best offensive lineman today at the left guard position. But Majors and Jones, who have been on the offensive line the longest, played decent. The other 3 guys were not very good, in my opinion. And we didn't get consistent push. There were plays where we'd blow them off the ball and the running backs would be able to do something, but that was very rare. Overall, it wasn't a great game at all for the offensive line. It really concerned me. But Quinn Ewers, again, he was 19 for 30, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns throwing. He had 1 rushing as well, 0 interceptions. Speaking of the rushing, he had 8 attempts for 12 yards and 1 touchdown. But I think they sacked him 3 times, so that you have to take that into account. Again, the offensive line, communication wasn't there. The push consistently up front wasn't there. Passing, I thought they did honestly a better job than running, just by a bit. It wasn't by much. And again, we'll talk about them. We'll just throw them up there because they have to be better, guys. I thought this unit going in, and a lot of people did, it was a top 10 offensive line in the country. If they play like that, they're nowhere near that. They're probably in like the 30 to 40 range, honestly. If they can just be good, they don't have to be great. If they can be good, not even top 10, if they're a top 15 offensive line in the country, I think this team has easily a Big 12 championship in store because the defense was phenomenal. We're at that point on the defense where we're rotating. Brock Eward was talking about it. We had 12 guys rotating consistently on the defensive line, and we lost nothing. Ethan Burke, by the way, fantastic game, had a sack and a half, could have had more. He missed one at the end, could have had 2.5 sacks. I really like him. I liked what I saw from Alfred Collins. I really like what I saw from Tavondre Sweat. If he keeps that up and Tavondre Sweat can be that good consistently throughout the rest of the season, he's probably going to be a 2nd or 3rd round NFL draft pick. That's how good he was today. He was very good. Byron Murphy was very good as well. Honestly, hats off to the defensive line. They were definitely the they were definitely the best part of the defense and definitely the best part of Texas today. I thought Jalen Ford back to his absolute menacing ways at the middle linebacker position. Great interception from him. Led the team in tackles today. I think he only had 5, but again, we're rotating so many people. His tackles will probably be lower than last year because of that, but he is such a good player, guys. Honestly, I didn't see as much as from Anthony Hill as I thought I would, or I wanted to see. Malik Muhammad, I did see a lot of, and I actually saw him more out there than Ryan Watts. That could have been because, honestly, JT Daniels didn't have much time to throw that football, guys. He got sacked a couple times, I believe 2 or 3 times, and then there was constant pressure. Like every drop back, he had to get rid of that thing in under 3 seconds. Otherwise, it turned into either an incompletion, or a turnover. He had a couple turnovers today. Austin Jordan with an interception and Jalen Ford also with an interception. So overall, the Texas defense was very good. I was very impressed. They answered some of my questions. Jaron Thompson, for whatever reason, didn't start because of disciplinary reasons. I don't know what those reasons are. I don't know if Sark has said them after the game or what was up with that, but he came in and played well when he did play. I like this team. I like the depth on the defense. It really comes down to the offensive line. If the offensive line, again, can be good and then Quinn Ewers can hit the deep ball, I think honestly, we have a really good chance here, guys. I think there's a lot of opportunity to grow here. I think people are overreacting because it's the first game of the season, and it sucks because that's what people do. It's the first week of football, and people want to jump to these conclusions. I think you get coaches will tell you the biggest jump for teams is from week 1 to week 2. And I'm hoping we can take that jump. I'm interested to go see Alabama play after I hop off here, watch them a little bit, how they do with Milroe. He is starting. Wouldn't shock me if they rotate in a quarterback. But that's why I'm not going to take on a lot from this game, guys. I just want to see us produce better. Like we hopefully what we do at Alabama obviously is better in this game. We'll have to see. The play calling, I didn't have an issue with. And honestly, I think it's just about the execution at this point. I think it really doesn't have much to do with the play calling. It's the execution on the offensive line, the communication on the offensive line. The only thing that I would say that needs to be worked on a lot from Quinn Ewers is the deep ball. If I'm Steve Sarkisian, I'm throwing the deep ball 80% of the time in practice. The guy underneath can throw it, complete 70 to 80% of his passes. Intermediate, he could easily complete 60, 70% of his passes. He really struggles with the deep ball, and he really needs to get that down because for this offense to be unlocked, you have to hit at all 3 levels. And he just hasn't been able to do that. He has level 1 and level 2 down. He does not have level 3 down. I'm really hoping he can get that under control. But I will say, I think a bright spot on this offense, guys, was the running backs. I really liked what I saw from the running backs. I liked what I saw from Jonathan Brooks. I really, really like what I saw from Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue could not be contained. And then when he got hit the first time, he never went down. He had really good contact balance. He's a very good running back. If people forget, this guy coming out 2 years ago was the number 1 ranked running back in his class. That's how good of a player he is. He's a very good player. I'm really excited to see what Jaden Blue can do for this team. I really like Jonathan Brooks. He should have caught the one ball. That's the only thing I have an issue with him. I think Jaden Blue's probably better in that area. Jonathan Brooks looked very smooth. Cedric Baxter broke off the one long run and then got hurt, unfortunately. So I'm hoping that injury isn't too big, but I don't think we'll miss him that much, honestly. He's a very awkward runner to me. He runs very high. I think people said that. I think someone said he runs a lot like Adrian Peterson. He's very like straight up, which is very awkward to see. You don't see that very often from running backs. So I'm wondering if he'll be taught to, lower down a little bit, drive through the hips when he does get contacted, or he's just that big to where it doesn't really matter. We'll have to see, guys. I don't know. It'd be interesting what the coaches have to say about that. But the question that did get answered today is who the backup quarterback is. And it's clearly Malik Murphy. We go into the third quarter up 37-3. About 10 seconds left. You see Malik Murphy come in. So he's the backup quarterback. And unfortunately, we didn't get to see Arch because we weren't able to execute. The first half was honestly just not good at all on offense. Obviously, going into the third quarter, we played much better on offense. 3 drives, 3 touchdowns. Jatavian Sanders showed his breakaway speed and what I love about him. So very good for him and very good overall, or much better overall in the third quarter. But that has to be consistent. Again, I want to see consistency with the team. That's the number one thing. We've always seen flashes under coaches. Hell, we had flashes under Charlie Strong. The issue has been consistency. I want to see consistency. I'm going to keep saying that because we have to have it. If you want to play at the University of Texas, I think Steve Sarkisian has said that you have to have a standard of excellence. And so far, I've seen that in areas. I think the defense was, again, played to that standard. I think the running backs played to that standard. I think the wide receivers played to that standard. I even think Quinn Ewers played pretty good. I wouldn't say up to that standard, but he played pretty good. The offensive line has to get better. It has to. We have way too much depth. We have way too much talent. Hopefully it was just communication issues on the offensive line. If it wasn't, and it was actually the players, it's very concerning. I'm really hoping it was just the fact of you're putting in DJ Campbell, his first ever college start. He's very talented, obviously, but he's never played before, and it was more of a communication thing. I'm really hoping that's what it was, because if it wasn't, it's going to suck, guys. That could be the one thing that jeopardizes us from playing in the Big 12 championship game, is the offensive line. And I'm really hoping that isn't the case, because we're talented and and we have a lot of guys that are going to play in the NFL. Quinn Ewers is going to play in the NFL. I think Jonathan Brooks will play in the NFL. I think Cedric Baxter will play in the NFL. I think Jaden Blue will play in the NFL, especially after watching him today. We have like 3 or 4 wide receivers that are going to play in the NFL. We have a bunch of guys on defense that are going to play in the NFL. The offensive line that cannot be the weak point. It can't. We have too good of an offensive line coach for it to be the weak point. We have too good of players. We have to get that shit settled down. We really do. And it's going to be frustrating if it doesn't. But again, it's week 1. There really isn't much to take away from this game, guys. Honestly, this will probably be a pretty short post-game show, just for the fact is we played Rice. We play Alabama next week. They haven't even played yet, so I don't really know what to discuss about them. They play Middle Tennessee State. They did decide to play Jalen Milroe, which I'm not surprised. The guy should have been the starter. Who are you going to start? Ty Simpson, I don't know what he's like. It'll be interesting to see if he does play Buckner. Tyler Buckner has such a low ceiling, guys. You know what the floor is for him? Like, I think the worst Alabama could do with Tyler Buckner, like if everything went to shit, is 9-3. But you're not winning a national championship with Tyler Buckner. I think you can win a national championship with Jalen Milroe. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially our defensive line versus their offensive line next week. I think that's what's going to be won. Most football games are won in the trenches. Next week is definitely not going to be anything different, because if their defensive line with Dallas Turner and those boys can get pressure on Quinn Ewers, we're going to be in it for a long day. And I think our defensive line can get pressure on the Alabama quarterback, whoever it is. The issue is, if it is Jalen Milroe, we're going to have to be very disciplined in our run scheme, on our gaps when we rush the passer, because if we get out of contain, he can absolutely fly, and that could kill us. So next week, I don't think we'll get as much pressure, because we'll be a little bit more conservative trying to keep him in the pocket. But I think we have a chance to definitely wreak some havoc with our defensive line versus their offensive line, even though it is a very, very good offensive line. This is one of the best offensive lines Alabama's probably had in the last 7 or 8 years. So it's going to be very interesting to see about that. But overall, I'd be interested to see what Steve Sarkisian says after this. I'll watch what he has to say and then come back here on what would that be, Tuesday for you guys at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time to break down what he said and what his thoughts were on the game. Like I said, guys, I'm here every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, breaking down that Saturday game. And then I'm here after the game every Saturday talking about Texas football and the game they just played. So again, please hit that like button, subscribe down below for me. Do that. We're trying to grow this Big 12 channel. We're trying to grow this Texas channel. I want more people in here. I love to talk football, and it's kind of hard to talk football when you don't have anyone to talk to. So can you guys please do that for me? It really helps out the channel. It really helps out Mark as well. Please subscribe to his channel if you haven't. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. You guys have been awesome with doing that. He just had a 24-hour live stream. So definitely reward him for what he's done creating his channel and then all the other ones, guys. So please do that. Overall, the one thing I will say is we got out of this game very healthy. Cedric Baxter was the only injury. I'm hoping it's not too serious. Honestly, guys, it seemed like a separated shoulder, a broken collarbone. I'm hoping it's a separated shoulder, because that's probably a 4-week injury at the running back position. We'd probably get him back by Oklahoma. If it's a collarbone, he'll probably be out to the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season, honestly. So honestly, just keep him out at that point. Just set him, because we don't, unless someone gets hurt, we don't really need him. Even with our 5th string running back is Trey Wisner. I trust him. I think he's a good player. But you have Jaden Blue, who I like. You have Keelan Robinson. You have Jonathan Brooks. If those are your 3 running backs for the rest of the season, there's nothing wrong with that. So just keep Cedric Baxter healthy. He's the future at the running back position of this program. So I just need him to be healthy for his career, not just the season, because we're going to rely on him way more. I think if Jonathan Brooks has a decent year, he'll go off to the NFL. Keelan Robinson will not be here. So basically be Cedric Baxter, Christian Clark, Jarrett Gibson, and Jaden Blue, hopefully, if Jaden Blue sticks around. But very interesting game. I'm interested to see how Rice turns out, honestly, because that will tell you a lot too. Like, we go into the season with nothing, guys. We're going to to these games being told what a team is, and then we get to see it unfold and play out. This Rice team could end up going 8-4 and being a pretty good team. And if that's the case, then a 37-10 game, and really a 37-3 game, because we pulled out all the starters after the third quarter, isn't bad. 37-3 basically was the final score. I think if the starters played the whole game, it probably would have ended up being 51-10 is my guess. I guessed 56-10 before this game, and obviously that didn't happen. 37-10. They didn't cover the spread at 35 points. I wouldn't have bet them to do that. It'll be interesting to see if Steve Sarkisian, if that was very vanilla. In my opinion, I thought there were some plays that weren't. Like the Jonathan Brooks touchdown that he caught was definitely a play that Steve Sarkisian likes to go to once in a while, pretty often, and he did it in the bowl game for, I believe that was his second career touchdown versus Washington, his first coming against Oklahoma in the blowout where we won 49-0 last year. But overall, I don't know. I thought he used more motion this year than he did last year versus most teams. So I will say that. The play calling, I'd have to go back and watch. I will say, guys, what I was kind of surprised at, I thought I saw Malik Muhammad play more than Ryan Watts. I'm not surprised coming out of training camp that was the case, but I'm kind of surprised that they would do it in the first game of the season. That's what surprised me. So it's very interesting to me if that was the case. I'll probably go back and watch this sometime this week to see how many snaps each player got on defense. That's what the question I would ask the most. And then did Cole Hudson play? I don't remember seeing him out there. I was wondering if they would, rotate him in with DJ Campbell, but they didn't. And honestly, if DJ Campbell struggles next week, you're going to have to put Cole Hudson in, because you can't have a guy getting pushed around that often. I thought two of the guys on the offensive line did a very good job, like I said earlier, but the other three played games. I thought Christian Jones was good, and I thought Jake Majors was good. The other three guys kind of concerned me. Even Kelvin Blanks didn't play very good. Again, is this because we played Rice and these guys are looking forward to Alabama? Very well could be. If that's the case, that's fine. Guess what? We'll know next Saturday, because if we get blown out, then this team clearly is going to underachieve again. Steve Sarkisian will be on the hot seat going in next year. And if we play them close or win the game, then I think our standards will probably be met this year, but we'll have to see and wait till next week. But again, can you guys please hit that like button, subscribe down below. Again, I'm here every Tuesday for Texas Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Then I'm here after every Texas game on Friday or Saturday. All our games this week are on Saturday. There's one on Friday, obviously Texas Tech at the end of the year. So please subscribe down below. Come back for more content. Go to Mark's channel and subscribe, guys. So thank you guys very much for that. I don't think there's really much else to talk about. You guys have been good so far. I want more of you in here. Please get all your friends, family. I want the comments flowing in, especially for that Alabama game next week. It's way too good of a game to not have more people in here. People debating, people starting conversation. I think I've said basically all that I could say for this game, guys. It's been awesome talking with you guys for this time I have. Again, please subscribe. Please go over and like the video as well. Go over to Mark's channel, subscribe there, and follow me on Twitter at MatthewMS97. Shoot your comments, questions, concerns. If you want to join the channel, talk a little bit Texas football too, I'd be willing to have a co-host. I think that helps as well. So guys, please do that for me as well. I hope you guys have had a great Saturday of watching college football. Luckily for us diehard college football fans, we have 2 more days of college football, 2.5, because we still have some tonight. I'm excited for that West Virginia game. I'm excited for the Houston UTSA game, which is on now. I'm excited to watch a little bit of Alabama to see what I'm looking ahead to next week for our Texas Longhorns. And thank you guys for joining me. Hook 'em as usual. Texas wins this one versus Rice 37-10. Please hit that like button, subscribe down below. Have a good one, guys.